So I want to talk about Saturn through the houses because Saturn is the ruler of the um, solar cycle that we just had. I also want to shed light on the fact that Saturn has been in a sextile to Aries and Chiron. Okay. So with Saturn being in a sextile to Aries and Capricorn, I feel like this is a karmic energy. Chiron, of course, is associated with our inner wounding, like things that we need to heal from within, things that could go back from childhood as well. Especially with Chiron being in Aries, which is a very young, youthful energy. So be mindful of like teen sex and like teen violence and teen gangs and you know, because we have Saturn here, so it's like changing the karmic, like changing the karma when it comes to how we direct and guide our children and our, you know, the future generations. So I feel like in order for the future to change, I feel like there's some things, especially with this sextile to Chiron, there's some things that we need to heal as far as us as people in the power, people in authority, people that are, those of us that are parents, those of us that are experiencing issues with anger or whatever that Chiron and Aries could be for you. Like I said, Chiron is a youthful energy. Aries is a feminine energy. She is an asteroid. She is a goddess. So with Saturn being in a sextile to Aries, this is like a female aggressive kind of energy. I feel so. I also want to shed light on that energy as well for this Capricorn solar cycle. So the full moon in Cancer reflected on the 4th house, and I do have a separate set of notes that I did about the Cancer full moon, and I went through each sign and discussed the 4th house of each sign. Before this Capricorn New Moon, I shed light on the 10th house. And so Capricorn's 10th house is Libra, and Capricorn's 4th house is Aries. So overall, during this solar cycle, we had Jupiter in Aries in our 4th house. So this could be things going back from our childhood, our hometown, things with our family could have came up, because this is an energy in this season where we're in the energy around family. So Jupiter and Aries has been in the 4th house. The Sun in Capricorn has been squared to Jupiter and Aries in the 4th house. So for a lot of people, overall, like everyone has been experiencing this energy with this square to Jupiter and Aries in the 4th house, which is a very broad energy, because Aries is also a traveling energy, very pioneering, always on the go, really busy. You know, like, let's go have fun, let's go to a different city, let's go to a different country, like, yeah. So that is the Jupiter and Aries energy. So I mean, of course, it could also be arguments in the home, arguments with your family, and things of that nature could have came up. Relationship issues as well. Yeah, with this square to Jupiter and Aries in the 4th house. So, after Capricorn, we have Aquarius. And Aquarius 10th house is Scorpio. And 4th house is Taurus. And Saturn in your first house has been in a square to your 4th house. So some kind of issue with you in a conflict or challenge with your home or your family or even your mother, or something like that. The Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the 12th house has been square to Jupiter in the 3rd house. So the 12th house is kind of behind the scenes. It's hidden from public view. It's a very private house. And with that square being to Jupiter in the 3rd house, which is the 3rd house is dealing with communication and travel, as well as the 3rd house is the house of like learning, siblings. It is a mercurial house. So with the square in the 12th house and the 3rd house, a lot of issues with communication and yeah. And the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the 12th house could also be like a very relaxing, resting kind of energy, because the 12th house does deal with like rest. The 12th house is also hospitals, hospitals. The 12th house is also associated with like prisons and like things behind the scene. So with this square to the 3rd house, there's definitely some issues with communication and travel for Aquarius, or maybe like issues with like friends or siblings with that 3rd house, or like people from your past, people from your neighborhood, your neighbors. It could also be like conflict with people, like just general in public with Jupiter and Aries in the 3rd house. I mean, it could be something like at the grocery store, or so just be mindful of that conflict with Jupiter and Aries in the 3rd house. So for Pisces, Pisces 10th house is Sag, 4th house Gemini. So the 10th house is in relation to the 9th house, and your 4th house is in relation to your 3rd house. Saturn for Pisces has been in your 12th house, and it's in a square to Uranus and the North Node in your 3rd house. And you also have Jupiter in your 2nd house, Jupiter and Aries in the 2nd house. So the Sun has been in your 11th house, Pisces, which is we had the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the 11th house, and it has been square to Jupiter in the 2nd house, which is like the house of basically the things that you hold of value, or things that make you wealthy. Because of course your 2nd house could be like shoes or jewelry, or like because we always say like your home. Usually the 2nd house is associated with like a mortgage or something like that, so like a house. But yeah, Jupiter in your 11th house has been square to your 2nd house. I mean, the Sun in the 11th house has been square to Jupiter in your 2nd house. So yeah, and with Jupiter and Aries in the 2nd house, it could have been like a lot of like overspending, or like really not saving with Jupiter and Aries in the 2nd house. Like kind of what is it called, like folly spending. Also with Jupiter and Aries in the 2nd house, like you could be like fighting over money or fighting over material things, second house things. So yeah, with that second house thing. So some Pisces may also find new ways of making money or spiritual ways of getting money, because we have Jupiter and Aries there as well, in your second house. Also, with Saturn in your 12th house, Pisces, and Saturn in Aquarius in your 12th house, of course, this, because the with Saturn in Aquarius, that's the ruler of the 11th house. So it could be something going on with your friends behind the scene. Maybe some things like you have issues with friends, or things like that. With the square to the 3rd house, you know, it could be like money, food, because like Taurus 3rd house is things like that. Money, food, second house things. So that pretty much has been something that come up for you, Pisces. And with your 4th house, Gemini, which I talk about that in the Cancer full moon, so I'll just skip over that. But the main energy that we're focusing on for this Capricorn solar energy is the 10th house in Sag, which is in association with your 9th house, Pisces, which is Scorpio. So with the 10th house Sag, 9th house Scorpio, this could be a lot of a broad array of energy, such as jealousy. It also is like a very sexy energy. So with your 10th house being in association with your 9th house Scorpio, you could have like a major sex appeal, or there could be like rumors, scandals involved, definitely involving 8th house things or sex or something like that, which is an 8th house thing as well. So yeah, that's that for Pisces. So Aries, your 10th house is Capricorn, which is where your Sun, Mercury, and Venus has been, Aries. So you've been having Sun, Mercury, and Venus in your 10th house. So really putting yourself out there. With Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the 10th house, like, the world is just loving you right now. You've been receiving a lot of attention. Also, like, you're also like the head of the family with Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the 10th house. You're like the head of the family. You're very independent. And there's definitely like with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in your 10th house, you could be focusing on like a business, like your legacy, family goals, things like that. Jupiter in your 1st house is square to the Sun in your 10th house. So definitely shedding the light on like career and family here. Okay, so Aries, you could be expanding and growing, and like this is your family, but maybe there could be some issues with reputation or gossip or family issues as well with this square to your 1st house. Well, I mean, not your first, yeah, the Sun in your 10th house is square to your 1st house. So with the Sun in the 10th house, there could be some things with a father that have come up for you. Because you got the Sun in your 10th house. So definitely illuminating your father, definitely Aries. And with the square to your 1st house and your 10th house, yeah, there could be some things that need to be healed or worked out with a father. Um, but you got the Sun, Mercury, and Venus there. So very pleasant energy, actually, with that square to Jupiter. Um, so it really is like a good energy, Aries. Just be mindful of like aggression and being argumentative and getting into any fights with your son in the 10th house, because you're a parent. You have a reputation to uphold, you have an image to uphold, and you have people to prove wrong or to keep proving them right, so to say. So definitely be mindful of that, and be mindful with Jupiter in your first house, Aries. Yeah, especially in your body, you could be focusing a lot on like your health, your and how you look, and exercise, and basically just how you take care of yourself. So yeah, Saturn has been in your 11th house, Aries, and is in the square to the true node and Uranus in your second house. So yeah, you're having issues with friends, your goals, and money as well. Um, some of you all could be business owners, bosses. Like I said, you're the head of it, the household, or the family. Um, but just be mindful of conflicts with friends. So yeah. So Taurus 10th house is Aquarius, where Saturn is right now. And it's in a square to your first house, Taurus. So with Saturn in your 10th house, there could be, some issues um with some friends, or there could be like business moves or business partnerships with friends. Um, could be something with family that come up here, or your children, because Taurus, you could be like the father with Saturn in your 10th house, or you could have issues with your father, or there could be some karma of your own with your father that you need to reflect on, because Saturn in your 10th house is square to your first house. Saturn in your 10th house is also the world. So it's like, it's in a square to your first house. And Taurus, the major arcana is the Hierophant, which is a very spiritually acclimated card. So I feel like with this square to the 10th house, like, something to do with, your reputation, or how you put yourself out there to the world, or your family. But I feel like Taurus, being a Hierophant, like you're meant to, with Saturn in your 10th house, the focus is on your family, on your legacy, on the legacy that you leave behind. Um, yeah, making long-term plans with Saturn in the 10th house, long-term plans for your family, and basically how you want the world to see you, reflecting on your appearance with that square to your first house. Um, yeah, so how you want to be seen or looked at, and yeah, just how you feel about yourself, your body, and things like that. So we're going to come back to the 4th house in the Cancer full moon video, which Taurus's 4th house is Leo, which is connected to the 5th house. So the 4th house is connected to the 5th house. So Taurus, you had the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in your 9th house. So there could have been travel plans or religious and spiritual ceremonies, passport, college and student loans, spiritual downloads. With that Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the ninth house. And it's been in a square to Jupiter and Aries in the 12th house. So yeah. And I will say, with me being an astrology student and been thinking about going back to class and finishing up my my nail program, like finishing up my hours and things like that, and then square to the 12th house. It really is like, well, how should I say, like a spiritual conflict, you know. Yeah, I feel spiritual conflict here for Taurus, especially with you all being the Hierophant, and then square to your first house and the 10th house. Yeah. So Gemini's 10th house is Pisces, 4th house Virgo. So for Gemini, your 10th house is reflective upon your 12th house, which is Taurus, where you have Uranus and the true node. So the south node of Scorpio Gemini is in your 6th house. I feel like the true node in your 12th house is related to your 2nd house. Well, the true node in the 12th house is related to your 2nd house in Cancer. Remember, the 2nd house is the Chariot. I mean, remember, Cancer's major arcana is the Chariot. Which, that was why I didn't get a chance to post my Cancer full moon video. Is because I was too busy riding in my Chariot. So, yeah, really, a really busy time on the go. I also feel like with the true node conjunct Uranus in the 12th house Gemini, the true node conjunct Uranus and Taurus in the 12th house Gemini, I feel like that you may have taken some losses of values and our money and have had to make sacrifices as well. All right. Also, Gemini's 8th house is Capricorn, which is related to the 6th house Scorpio. And we also have the Sun here, Gemini. The Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Capricorn is in your 8th house. So, of course, there could have been something that come up for you about your parent or your parent's spouse or your spouse's parent or something like that. With Scorpio 6th house, Capricorn 8th house, there could also be like government loans or government funding. Could be a small business owner working from home, or you work for a franchise or some kind of business owner. I feel like as well with the true node and Uranus in the 12th house Gemini, there are spiritual lessons for you to learn and observe. You could be spending more time resting, meditating, praying, and seeking a higher understanding. So you should be kind of receiving like spiritual guidance as well as spiritual lessons here. So the true node of Uranus in your 12th house is in a square to Saturn in Aquarius in your 9th house. Could be long distance friends. There's a higher truth also regarding your friends. You could also have friends from like different cultures. You could meet like, you could have met like new people from like Like somebody that was different, somebody that was outside of your normal scope of people that you normally see every day. You could also have a spiritual business with a friend, or could be in a spiritual or religious organization. Um, with Saturn and Aquarius in the ninth house, beware of fraud and scams, identity theft, people stealing your bank information, credit card, credit issues. So, yeah, be mindful of that. Um, I also feel with Saturn and Aquarius in the ninth house, um, I feel like there's some issues with religion here, or religious issues with seeing the higher truth about something or surrounding something. Um, like I feel like there could be something about integrity or religion, or like something spiritual with this Saturn in the ninth house. And also, as well, Gemini, with Saturn in the ninth house, you could be more open to other forms of spirituality, or other types of spiritual practices. Like you, or you could also have had travel plans as well with friends. Like you could also be making like long-term travel plans with Saturn and Aquarius in the ninth house. You have Chiron and Jupiter as well in the 11th house, which is square to Mercury and Venus in the 8th house. With Mercury and Venus in the 8th house and a square to Chiron in the 11th house, um, I feel like there's issues surrounding other people's money. Inheritance money. The 8th house is also a house of like fears and secrets. So, with Mercury and Venus and the Sun in the 8th house, you could have seen death or are experiencing a death, or there could be talk or communication about death. Or you have those thoughts or trauma surrounding a death with the 8th house energy. All right. So for Cancer, Cancer's 10th house is Aries, 4th house Libra. So the Sun, Mercury, and Venus is opposing you, Cancer, in your 7th house, and is in a square to Jupiter and Chiron in your 10th house. So with the 7th house being the square to your 10th house, there could be marital issues and family or career issues. You could be concerned about your reputation or how you appear to the world. This could also indicate like an abusive marriage. Or you could be looking for marriage. Some of you all with Jupiter and Aries in the 10th house, you could have like a new family. Okay. Because you have the Sun, Venus, You have the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in the 7th house. And, so there could be a lot of emphasis, Cancer, on your relationships and your partnerships. Or those that you live with that 4th house Libra. So let's see. Yeah, Jupiter and Chiron is in your 10th house. So yeah, with Jupiter and Aries in the 10th house and Chiron in your 10th house, I feel like you're healing some family wounds. And yeah, like a new family, a new career that's going on for you, Cancer. Yeah, new major opportunities here with that 10th house Jupiter and Chiron in your 10th house. But with that Sun, Mercury, and Venus in your 7th house, there could be definitely thoughts about getting married, or some things about marriage could have come up. Children, co-parenting in a marriage could also come up for some. With the square to Jupiter and Chiron in your 10th house, you could be seen as impulsive, risky. You could have gotten in fights in the public or caused scenes in the public eye. Or you're in the public eye with that 10th house energy. So, yeah, a lot of Cancers also are bosses. I will say, like, within the past 2 years, I've had like 2 or 3 Cancers that was like my supervisor. And so yeah, I will say that Cancers are like really hard workers. They're great leaders. They're very detail oriented. So I will say, yeah, Cancer, with this Jupiter and Chiron and Aries in your 10th house, you all are definitely great leaders and very great bosses out as well. Like, y'all work hard. You pretty much take the initiative and take the lead. Well, yeah, you'll take the initiative, Cancer. So yeah. But yeah, your 4th house is related to your 7th house. Don't be argumentative, risky, or impulsive, Cancer. Because your 7th house energy is in a square to the energy that you put out to the world. Okay. So this new moon, Cancer, will be in your 7th house. And the full moon will be in your 1st house, which is connected to your 4th house. So something about you and your home or your family or something like that. All right.